We also got quite a few questions about hospital bed capacity. And Dr. Moradi, if you can speak about what is your bed capacity right now? If you don't know the exact numbers, that's fine. If you can give us an estimate, I'm going to put you on the spot like that. But how is capacity? Do you feel good about at least your hospital's capacity right now?
Sure. So I work with Steward Health Systems. We have 3 hospitals in the Florida region. We have seen a huge uptick in hospitalizations and the necessity of resources over those last 4 or 5 days, and really over the last 2 or 3 weeks as we've seen the incidents increase. But the July 4th weekend was a big one, especially because Miami closed all its beaches. I think it was similar in Fort Lauderdale, so everybody kind of moved up the coast to still enjoy some beach time. We still are not at capacity or critical capacity. When all of COVID started, we created a platform in terms of how to, on a day-by-day and even hour-by-hour basis, be able to adjust on the fly for where we're seeing incidents, what we need, resource allocation, things like that. So as we saw the incidents increase in Florida, our nationwide partners in the same health system reallocated resources to Florida so that we could help support that. And I think that that's going on at all the major health systems across the United States. In terms of our specific health system in Florida, we still have plenty of space. If you're sick, get out there and go to the hospitals. If you need to be seen, take care of yourselves. And that's really the message that I think is important to get out to the viewers.
And we're looking at what's happening in Texas, where they're pretty much at capacity. And I think a lot of people are scratching their heads and wondering, why is that happening in Texas? And why are we seem to be in a much better situation here in Florida when it comes to hospital capacity? I don't know if either of you can answer, why are we in such better position? And the second part of the question is, could we end up like Texas in the future? Or do you have that concern at least?
What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I think part of it is Texas opened up a little bit earlier than we did, so they had a few weeks advanced opening and more folks spreading than we did by about 2 weeks, I believe. So they've got a head start on us. And they were far less vigilant than some of our cities were, especially in South Florida, in requiring social distancing and masking than we were. So we had more time than they did to protect ourselves. And in South Florida in particular, I think we did a better job at the local level mandating social distancing and protections than they did in Texas.
Yeah, I completely agree with Jay. I think that's a great way of reviewing.
But Dr. Wolf, does that mean that they are a couple of weeks ahead of us, and that we could end up in the same spot? Or do you feel that we have done a better job to make sure that doesn't happen?
I think in South Florida, we've done a very good job, much better than in Texas and Arizona and Phoenix. But that doesn't mean that those numbers won't still catch up with us. Nik is seeing an increase in the bed utilization for COVID patients, which means that those are displacing other hospital patients. And what we don't want to have happen is what happened in both New York and now in Houston and Phoenix, where the hospital beds are being overwhelmed with just COVID patients, and they're having to push aside cardiovascular patients, orthopedics patients. We don't want that to happen. So if we're careful in Florida and we continue to control what we're doing, and as Nik said, we have some treatments now that we didn't have before, and we're doing things that are more effective now. So we keep people out of the hospital when we can. And if each of us can exercise that degree of social responsibility and discipline, if we do get the disease and stay away from others and isolate, we have a much better chance of controlling it by looking at what's happened.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos from USA Today to stay up to date with all the latest news.